All right, looks like we're live. We got what are we at today? Wednesday morning, October 27th. Looks like we already got some people in here waiting on the show to start. Thanks for joining me this morning. Your pal Al said this working for a living is really taking me away from your 8 a.m. streaming. Yeah, I'm that's why for me it's early. It's 5, so I get to get it in before I go to work. Andy Smith, good morning, coach and crew. Added the CLOV again. Any thoughts on Lucid? You know what? Um, I really haven't been following Lucid at all since way back before they did the merger back here. Um, but nah, I don't know. I mean, if it's something that you're looking to get into, it did just cross. I mean, for a swing trade or something, um, just crossed over on the MACD. It's trading above 50 on the RSI. I mean, that's you had a crossover here a little while ago. Looks like this is the 50 right here. So I mean, it's trading above all the moving averages. Um, you know, eventually you'd want to see this 50 end up being crossing over these two to be even more bullish. But I mean, it's got a decent entry point right now, considering. I think maybe once it breaks above this 29.79 or something like that. But yeah, I don't know much about Lucid. I haven't been following them at all, so I don't know what's been going on with the stock or anything like that. Um, oh, I just saw Noir said he hears the Discord. Let me turn that down. Yeah. Uh, let's see here. 6-8 Spindrift. Good morning. Um, Shrimply, Wes Hanson, Dan. Who else is in here? Brian Sanders, Noir, Louie, Solstice. Got Pete in here this morning. Dennis D, Josh Stewart, Christina. What's going on? Back to working full time graveyards. Yeah, it sucks when work gets in the way of your trading. Narayan, what's up? Good morning. So I was looking at the scanner this morning. Right now, there's nothing too crazy going on. I'll just show these real quick, then we'll talk about yesterday. But CRTX came up. Like how Dan knows I muted the computer. Did that pop up? There we go. I'll put the opening bell back on. I'll unmute it when we get closer. All right. Let's see here. So we got a CRTX drop significantly. From 60 down to 12 yesterday. Opened this morning at about 16, and it's starting to come back up. This is one that, I think, let me get this back up here. We had a similar trade like this, I think it was last week. And even though this stock, I'm sure the news, we could look at that real quick. I'm sure the news on it, there was something, I think it was like a failed drug result or something like that. Let's see. CRTX. Downgrade to underperform. Price target to 75 from 150. Lowers price target to 30. So, I mean, even these price targets that are coming in are above what it's trading at now. Alzheimer's drug fails to meet main goals. So, even though it got bad news, anytime you see a significant drop like this, I would expect to see some sort of pullback. And I mean, even right now, let's say you got in at, again, I'm not saying I'm buying right now. I'll wait for like a, this would have been an entry point right here for me. So maybe like a pullback at some point and jump back in. But or jump in, I should say. But even if this thing just slowly kind of makes its way back to 25, it's still going to show a significant loss on the day, right? Right now it's down 67%. If it pulls back to like 25, for you, that's going to be almost a 40% gain, and this stock's still going to be down huge on the day. So I mean, we saw one like this, and it's not guaranteed that it's going to pull back, and that's why you still want to kind of look for your indicators. RSI is looking good right now. It does look like the MACD starting to come down. But later on, if we get another break above this 50, I'll probably jump back in. Or if it looks like it's, respecting the 9 or something and find an entry point, I'll jump in on it, because more often than not, it may not fill the gap all the way up to 60, but maybe we'll see it rise up to 25, rise up to 30 at some point during the day. So this could be a good trade at some point. The other one that came up on my scanner this morning was OCGN. This was one from yesterday. Hit a high at 1323 in pre-market, at the opening, and then sold off all the way to 8. It's still getting a ton of volume this morning. I think volume right now on OCGN is 3.5 million. That float is 199. Look at the daily chart here. Yesterday was crazy. So right now it's trading at about 950, which is right around here. And I would just expect some volatility this morning. That could be another one that may provide some good entry points. Fun had the wild move the other day when DWAC ran. Popped from, what is this, $6 to 24. That one's coming up on my scanner right now too. Already 6 million shares traded. This is only a 69 million float. The volume on this has been insane. 647 the other day on this run. 237 the next day. 126 yesterday. So volume's starting to fall off. But again, there may be some room for some volatility in there to make some plays. And even if the other thing, because I really don't like a lot of these ones that I'm looking at on the scanner right now. These are just some that kind of popped up. But really important to just keep an eye on, all these plays that have been running lately. I mean, DWAC included. Fun. BKKT was the runner from Monday. Just kind of keep your eye on them, because at any moment, any of these can kind of take off and end up, providing some big moves intraday. So Medex is the other one that came up this morning. 14 million already traded. It's 100 million float. Penny stock closed yesterday at 55 cents, popped up to 70 cents. I know that one was moving yesterday as well. Had some nice moves in there. This one wasn't on my radar yesterday morning, but looks like it's grabbing some volume again this morning. So look at the daily chart here. It does have some significant gaps to fill. It looks like it just filled this one almost yesterday. And then it has two big gaps in there. So, and if we kind of zoom out, that looks like that's the way this thing always trades. So, kind of hard to tell, but this is one that also I'll be keeping an eye on. Probably those four, but to be honest, I don't really like much of anything. CRTX probably looks the most intriguing this morning out of all four that I just mentioned. Let me get back to the chat real quick, and then we'll go over yesterday. Turts McGurts, what's up? Good morning. Big Nate. You guys are in on Sheeb. I never got in on Sheeb. I never pulled the trigger. And it's just like, it feels exactly like the Dogecoin all over again. You know, everybody was talking about it, and I was just watching it just rip, and I never got involved. But Big Nate says Safe Moon's doing good again. Let me see what's going on there, because I do have some Safe Moon. I haven't looked at it. Yeah, it's I want to say it's almost 3 times what it was at like maybe a week or two ago. I'm just looking at the dollar amount in my account, but yeah. Yeah, Medex looks pretty good right now. I'm just looking at it. Medex and probably CRTX are probably my 2 favorites, and then the other ones that I'm going to be watching are these ones that I'm going to go over right now. The same place from yesterday. JJ, good morning. Risky Seeds, PROG. That's what we're going to get into right now. Cuckoo Bird, what's up? Michael, what's going on? La Clova Nostra. Let's see here. All right. So, PROG. Let's check it out. I'm going to pull up a 5-minute just so we can see the last couple of days. But yesterday in pre-market, this thing hit 646. And then, you know, had this big sell-off and dump right at the open. But actually, if anyone was trying to day trade this, had a nice run here from 330 up to 430. So a dollar move, almost a 30% move. I didn't sell anything. I tried to sell where did I do it at? I know I took some profits on some of my options contracts here. But I'm still sitting on the shares, and I still have most of my options contracts. But I think, you know, even this morning, PROG popped up again to like 475. It wants to run. Right now, we're already at 6 million in volume this morning. I saw on level 2, there was, there we go, at 420, almost 47,000 shares. So, a little bit of resistance that we'll probably run into there. I also want to look at the option chain on this one, because there was a ton of volume that came in, and yeah, sure enough, this thing really has some potential right now. So they added in these options. I want to say, didn't they add on some options the other day? Maybe the 550 strike. I don't know, but this is starting to get really loaded up here. You know, 22,000, 14,000, 32,000. And we're already in. We've been talking about this for a while. More puts have started to flow in, but you know, right here at the $2 strike is where calls start outweighing puts, and we already got all these strikes deep in the money. You know, so I really feel like this thing is not dead yet. I mean, I've been talking about on here for a while now that, you know, I'd rather just play these as day trades and everything, but not with PROG. With PROG, I've actually been I've been holding now for about a week. It's funny because I actually day traded it a little bit too, just adding on to my position and selling a little bit when it looked like there was breakouts. But I've been holding call contracts and also just holding shares for a while now because I think this thing has the potential to pop a lot more. If you look at the daily chart, it's just kind of slowly being it climbs up, it consolidates, it climbs up, it consolidates, climbs up, consolidates, and it's just continuing to do this. Yesterday's candle wasn't too impressive. I mean, there was a lot of range there, over $1, 30% in range, which is good for day trading, but still ended up, I think, up like 18% on the day. But this doji candle could be kind of scary if it starts trading downwards after that. I don't know in terms of, if this is the next pop up and it starts consolidating, you might be able to find, somewhere in like the 380 to 360 range. Who knows? But I don't think it's done. I mean, if you look at the volume that came in yesterday, 253 million. It's the volume started picking back up again, and that's basically what we've seen on all these. If we look at volume, it rises up, kind of settled down even to like 47 million, and then pops back up to 346. Comes down, comes up. It's starting to rise again. So, I really like PROG right now. I really do. At least until the end of this month, just because, or the end of November, or November 19th, I should say. Basically, options expiration again, just because there's so much going on here with this chain too, and if we see another big pop today, let's say we end the day at like, if we can actually close the day above 4, I would speculate that they add in options up to $8, and that's still not a ton of strikes, so that leaves room for people to start like filling them up. And we already have this continuation here in the chain to push us through 550. So, yeah, this one looks really intriguing. We could check max pain on it right now. And, I have a feeling that once we pop over 4, we'll probably be staying above there and moving a little bit higher. So that's just my thought. I'm really this is probably my most conviction right now in one of these squeeze plays. I think PROG isn't done at all. And I had some friends hit me up the other day like, hey, well, how high do you think PROG is gonna go? And honestly, I kind of think, I'd like to say double digits, especially the way some of these other ones have been running, but who knows? Shit, even if I would say for sure, I think it's going to blow out the chain. I would say this thing goes to 6, but we've seen some of these other ones, once they get moving and they have high short interest, and then, it goes beyond the option chain. And all of a sudden now you start seeing covering and increase in volume and floats being traded 10 times over and everything else. Who knows what's going to happen? We look at Ortex on PROG. Looks like that's kind of a decline now. It was at 60, I want to say, yesterday. Could be wrong. But it's at 50% short interest, which is still insanely high. 72% of the floats on loan. Cost to borrow still high. Utilization still high. So, everything's, again, everything's looking good right now. It's got all the numbers that you would want to see. And also, we may be seeing that reduction in short interest, now that I think about it, because of the news we saw yesterday. So yesterday, They cleared off like 20 million of their debt, or was it 20% of their debt, by selling shares. It wasn't necessarily, again, the way I was understanding it was something like 8 million shares, but they weren't creating shares. They weren't diluting the stock. They were selling their own shares to cover debt. But then in that, they did create, I believe, like 500,000 shares. So there was a little bit of dilution, but not as much as the whole. And that might be why we're seeing a decrease in short interest, because the float grew a little bit. That was my understanding. Let's see here. I got lost in the chat. Noir says, are people still watching CEI? You know, I have all these stocks on my watch list, and I keep having to move some off to put other ones on. CEI is still on mine, because I think with all these plays, at any moment, right now I'm looking at BBIG, SDC, CEI, AMC's always on there with GameStop, because those ones have the potential, I think, at any moment to start running. ATER, BlackBerry, I added the other day and took something else off. I don't even remember what I took off, but I'm probably going to end up, BlackBerry's probably the next one that's going to go. AGC, PROG, DWAC, and then CLOV's always on there, just because sometimes I end up taking it off. Like, I just realized I don't have CLOV on the screen here. So, but yeah, that's the ones that I have up right now. I feel like I almost need another monitor, because there's been so many runners. Like, if I had to add some other ones, a lot of the mining plays would be on there. Gree, Hut, Any, those ones get movement. Other ones to keep an eye on, set alerts on. If they start moving, you want to be a part of it. Let's see. Anyone know why Tar Heel does not stream anymore? I have no idea, man. I haven't talked to him in months. Yeah, no idea. Wouldn't surprise me if maybe he doesn't have his CLOV position anymore. Let's see here. Bought some calls at 165 for $3. Can't decide if I should sell them or hold. You talking PROG, I'm assuming. Let's see. That's the only thing with the PROG options now, is they're getting so expensive. So you figure at 165, you need the stock to go to 465. IV is gonna be a big help for you though too. Like, if we pop to if we even just get to $4, 450-ish, I could see IV's gonna keep running. You got 24 days left. I don't know. Obviously not financial advice, but if it was me, it looks like you're down on those like 26 cents. I think you're going to see a pop. With options, you never want to hold, right? You just want to take profits when they're there, because IV can kill you too. Like right now, the IV on that chain is 252%. If all of a sudden the IV on the chain drops to 100 because people start selling ahead of you, you're going to lose money there, even if the stock is staying flat. So I just always take your gains with options. So, meaning even if like today we see a pop up to 450, I would sell, at least sell some of them, sell whatever, bank that profit and then wait for your next dip. Shares you could maybe hold a little bit longer if you wanted to or whatever, but shares don't lose value the way that options contracts do. But it's crazy. Like even, you know, you have a $3 call. I would assume I'm expecting this thing to run. Like I said, probably up to $5.50, $6 by November 19th. But you got to do whatever you feel comfortable with too. Profit Taker says check out plug. I don't know what's going on there. It's been on a little bit of a run. Definitely 23 up to 35. The chart looks pretty good. You have a gap here. But yeah, I don't know much. I don't really know anything that's going on with that one, so can't really speak on it. Patrick, what's up? I was thinking about you on Monday. I didn't stream Monday, but when it was running wild, I was thinking, man, I hope Patrick is still holding on, because I know the last time you had asked about it, I had sold my shares, but I said I held on to my call contracts because I still wanted to be part of the play. And I was thinking, like, man, I hope he didn't like just bail, because that thing went wild. It went all the way down to like $7 before it took off. I hope you banked on that. That was a fun day on Monday. Really fun. Coach, what are the expected numbers for CLOV? I think that for CLOV to move, they have to come up with better than expected numbers. Better than expected gets them upgraded. Just my opinion. Yeah. Well, there's so many things going on with it, right? So we got, if we try to just make a quick list, one is the MCR. Okay, if we see a reduction in MCR, that would be huge. MCR is the how much money that they put out per patient, basically. Like, just to put it in like the easiest term possible. So if your MCR is above 100, that means your patients are costing you more money than you're bringing in. If you can get your MCR below 100, now you're making money off every one of your patients, or your lives under management, or whatever, however you want to call it. So a reduction in MCR would be huge. I don't think we're going to see any sort of, at least on the earnings report, I'm almost positive we're not going to see anything for the Medicare, enrollment and stuff, because we're in the middle of that period right now. But we may see that when they talk about guidance. They may talk about, hey, we've been in these 100 and whatever new counties, signing people up, and we're signing up at a rate of, blah, 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 or whatever it may be. That could be huge. That could be big for their projections moving forward. The DCE, the direct contracting, we could see a significant jump there. I think those numbers would be nice to see. That they've got an increase going on there. Those are kind of the three big things that I think would maybe, or I guess the two big things: one, a deduction in MCR; two, how many new lives under management they're bringing in with DC from the health insurance side. Now on the tech side, like even yesterday, they were talking about the patents that they have, and Clover Assistant. I think that any sort of guidance with that, or announcements about that, and anything on the technology side. But I still don't know that Clover Assistant is being seen by Wall Street or by analysts or CLOV in general as a technology play. If it was, I think we'd already see the price increases. So yeah, I would say MCR. MCR is going to be a big one. And then when they start talking about guidance, I think they're going to have to raise their guidance a little bit. And I think they will now that they got the approval of these counties. And that's where the big numbers will come in like, okay, so we moved into these counties. This is what we're already seeing in the open enrollment period. And, this is where we think we could be at by the end of the year. Like if you guys remember, I think last earnings call, we saw, a huge increase in revenue year over year, a huge increase in lives under management quarter over quarter. So if that continues, the trend continues, I think that could be huge. And then they projected, I think, $1 billion in managed through. I could be wrong on the numbers. It's been so long through the Clover Assistant. Now, if they adjust their projections and their guidance, I think that's going to be huge too. So I don't know. It should be interesting. I think we're going to start seeing some sort of like rise going into earnings too. Hoping so, at least. Danny did it. What's up? Good morning. Michael says PROG was instantly. Let me pull this back up. I'm going to throw CLOV down here while we keep talking about these other ones real quick. Would you buy into PROG now or wait to see if there's a morning sell-off? It's so hard to say. I mean, I think this thing wants to be in the $4 range, I think. I mean, just if we kind of zoom out and just look at this over the last, even on a 30-minute view, and just see kind of its journey, it's kind of like up, higher lows, kind of in this range. Now it's coming back up. It looks to be settling here, and I think it's ready for its next pop. It's really respecting this. I pulled this up the other day, and right now it's really respecting this 50 SMA, even on like the 30-minute chart. And it just came down and touched it again. Now that's not to say that it can't go underneath it. I mean, all these charts, you can keep pulling shit up until you find one that fits. But you could see that it's kind of came down here and tapped this and bounced off a couple times. And it's right down here again. Although if we go back to, not too long ago, it did cross under and go, into a little bit of a consolidation phase before popping back above. But if we see a bounce today, I think we're going to go higher. I really do. Sam says I was restricted from shorting PROG yesterday. Yeah, it's on the hard to borrow list, and sometimes as retail, if they can't locate the shares, they won't let us short at all. I've had that happen with some lower float stocks and stuff like that. PROG isn't really a low float, not to that degree, but yeah, if it's hard to borrow, sometimes it won't let you do it. PROG has a partnership conference this Friday, maybe a catalyst. I know I'm way behind in the chat, guys, too. Let's see. Sir Lucky Charm says KAVL's ripping. Damn. All right, we're going to add that one to the watch list this morning. Let's see here. 16 million in volume already this morning. And that's an 11 million float. So the entire float's already been traded. Looks like Trying to see what news is behind this. Like something with a lawsuit. Requested FDA reconsiders its MDO. Okay. I like it though. Low float, getting some activity already. It's up over 100% in after hours right now. Look at the daily chart here. Wow. Okay. So it was trading here at 152 and it's already getting ready to open up right here in this range. It's got a gap to fill up to 459. We looked at this stock last week, didn't we? I think on this day, this was one of the ones that we were looking at as a possible day trade candidate. Yeah, this is probably gonna go to the top of the list today. So KAVL and anyone, and I'll get back to PROG and some of these other ones right now too. But so KAVL, and then the other one that I really liked this morning, for anyone who might have joined late, was CRTX. Kind of playing this gap down. You know, we've seen this before, gap down like almost 70%. And, you know, if we even just see it kind of rise up to, even from here, $25 would be like a 40% gain. So this is the other one that I'm probably going to be looking at as a, you know, nice entry today. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm just trying to I'm kind of skipping through the chat right now, guys. I just want to make sure. BKKT option chain is insane. Want to get back in. I don't know. I kind of talked about this on the stream yesterday morning. You know, that I had kind of had this idea that, you know, we might see this. And, you know, unfortunately what ends up happening is when you get that much movement all of a sudden, right? Like this chain only went to 20. So all these options got added yesterday. And yeah, I mean, it did get kind of filled up right here, you know, a little bit of continuation in there. But now the incentive is there, and that's a huge, you know, we're not talking like from 20 to 40. This is from 20 to 75. And my assumption would be, and I'm sure, let's check Max Payne too, is that all right, Max Payne went up a little bit. It's at $14 now, so we're still above Max Payne, but they're getting it back down there. And my assumption would be that this thing probably gets hammered down to 14, and that's going to be its new home for a while until IV kind of settles down. I mean, you could see they're already starting to kind of push this thing down, or not even starting. They're at almost the end of getting this thing back down to 14. Now, if all of a sudden, don't get me wrong, if all of a sudden this thing catches momentum and starts moving, and all of a sudden, you know, I'll get in it too. You know, I think it does have some potential. We do have, but there's like just some bigger gaps in here. These are $5 gaps now, you know, which Where before, you know, a $9,000 could move it $1. 4,000 could move it $1 because of the float size, but now we're going to be asking 5,000 on the option chain to move it $5. I don't see it. Let's see. Nah, Scotty, I don't know what you got where I'm just jumping in, but Christina, Scotty still comes on Fridays. He'll be on. Your pal house says SoFi dipped in pre-market and climbing back up. Oh yeah, came down to 19, climbing to 21. SoFi is one that I feel like I missed the boat on. I remember watching this thing way back here when it was still a SPAC, and you know, that was a huge pop there. I never bought it because at the time I was invested in other stuff, and then you know it came down. I saw it kind of move here. Was looking for a swing trade opportunity. Never got involved. Um, but yeah. Holiday option. What's up? GNUS. So that was one. Is it in a halt right now? Shouldn't be. No, it's still moving. Yeah, GNUS popped the other day, and it's kind of. I don't think this stock's done, but it might be consolidating for a little bit. We were looking at this one the other day. This is another squeeze play, I believe. Let me pull it back up. Not so much. 16% short interest. That's still high, but maybe that wasn't the play. We've been looking at so many tickers. I'm not even sure anymore. Day late dollar short says, can a gamma squeeze still happen any day of the week? Yeah, it can. It's just a matter of where the options are. Like with CLOV, it's a little bit different now because of the let me pull this back. The float's a little bit bigger, right? And so let's get PROG up here real quick. So the float's bigger than it was back in June or back then. So it's going to take a little bit more to move it. If we come over here, and then now they added weeklies. You know, weeklies kind of takes away from the concentration in the chain. Like before, we only had monthlies, which means November 19th would have been the big chain. None of this would have existed. So any options that were being bought would have all been consolidated into this chain, which would have made it a little bit, you know, easier to move the stock. But yeah, gamma squeeze could take off any day of the week. It's just a matter of, you know, we definitely need bigger numbers in here, and we need to get more in the money, right? So we need to get, right now it looks like max pain is right here around 750. But even if you look at these $8 and 850 strikes, there's nothing there. You'd want to see these, you know, sitting at 10,000 and then 10,000, and then we have all this in the money too. So like maybe we're trading at 10 and we have all this loaded up with calls outweighing puts, and then the extension beyond that. And I'll show you what I mean right now. BKKT is a perfect example because that just happened. This was trading at 10, and as it started going up, you see like, you know, thousands and this is a much smaller float. Once these started getting in the money here, you saw that continuation just push itself throughout the entire chain, and it was. Now there's way less here now because it started to. It took us all the way through the chain. The chain was at 20 and it pushed all the way through. That can happen any week. I don't see it happening right away with CLOV. I think we're going to need to see probably a little bit of action, something to kind of show that the stock isn't dead and that it's starting to move up. And that'll invite in bigger time option buyers that'll start loading it up to continue, give it that continuation it needs. All right, Christina. Sleep well. Says it's bedtime. Like, oh yeah, you said you work in graveyard. Josh Stewart says Fammy's moving this morning with a bunch of volume. Yeah, this is kind of what I was. This was another one that's been running the other day. So I mean, there's so many stocks out there, and I know Profit Taker just said the same thing. There's so many plays out today that it's, you could kind of go crazy just like looking around and trying to chase them all. So the best thing I think you could do is just pick like, one or two that you like, and stick with those. For me, I'm going to be keeping an eye on Redbox. I didn't even go over Redbox and AGC yet either. We'll do that right now. But damn, Family just popped again too. Look at that. But if you keep an eye on like previous runners and also scan for volume throughout the day, you should be able to find some of these as they start to pop. But even like, DWAC starting to move a little bit this morning. Family's one. Real quick before we talk AGC, I want to look at CRTX just to see where it's at. Yeah. It's already, when we were talking about this earlier, we were down here at 18, and this is what I mean. It's down so much that it has the potential to keep moving up. Other one that came up this morning was Medex. I don't really like this chart as much though. I really like KAVL is one I'll be keeping an eye on this morning. And then, kind of like the same ones from yesterday. We have, I think Redbox, it's already getting a ton of volume this morning. We should see some movement. OCGN. Oh, yeah. Day late, dollar short. Sorry, I know I started talking CLOV. Yeah, any day, gamma squeeze can happen. If you just, it doesn't have to happen on a Friday. And I mean, even like when CLOV did it last time, that was for the June chain. And I want to say that was 3 weeks before expiration. So that would be like right now for the November 19th option chain. Like it doesn't even have to happen the week of expiration. It can happen at any time. So yeah, any day, anytime. All right, let's see here. Where we at? Oh, AGC I wanted to pull up. So I went long AGC yesterday at 1250. I did send it out on the Discord and also on the community on the channel. On the community tab, just for anybody, just to let them know that I did see this as more of a swing trade, and I got in around 12. It might have even been 1260 right here. And it had this nice pop, and I almost wanted to just sell some there as it was popping up, but I held it overnight. I really do think that this thing's got a lot more room to go. If we look at the daily chart on this one, it was down at 10 recently. Once it kind of took off, we've kind of seen this like insane, movements. But anyways, it filled here, gaps up, fills the gap, goes on a run and then fills the gap and kind of settles out. Gaps up, run, comes down, did it again yesterday, gapped up, went on a nice run. Actually, it gapped up to here. Yeah, I'm tired right now. Let me start over. Zoom in. There we go. So it finished off a day. I just kind of see like a little pattern forming, right? Like, so it finished off this day here, gapped all the way up to 1195, came down and filled the gap, then settled. Next day up, shot up, right? Now the following day, which was yesterday, it gapped up from 1283 up to 1382, so $1. Went on a nice little run, came down, filled the gap more so, and then closed the day. Now, I don't know. Who knows if that's going to happen again, but that was just kind of a pattern I noticed. And it's like, okay, so if that was to happen today, it opens up a little bit higher or lower than where it was yesterday. And we see a nice spike. On top of all that, though, what I really liked about this play was previous high at 18. I feel like getting an entry point at 1250. I said I'm going to set a stop loss at 12, which I am, and I have on. Those don't work in after hours though, so make sure that you're watching it if you are in it as well. But if it falls before 12, I'll probably end up getting out. But this does look like it's got some squeeze momentum too. So one of the things that I like that I've been really paying attention is one, the option chain, two, max pain. This is trading above max pain. So max pain on this play is $10 right now. If we come over and look at Crtx data, 38% short interest isn't bad at all. It's got over a quarter of the float on loan. Cost to borrow seems like it's starting to pick up along with utilization. So it's right in there, kind of those variables that you would want. And again, it is, where are we at? It's above max pain. Also, I like that the option chain right now isn't as high, okay, which gives it the potential for, and there's only monthlies, to start seeing the build up there to start carrying us through. Float size on AGC, I know I went over this yesterday, but it's a lot smaller than some of these other plays. So the float on AGC is 41 million, okay, which means even these numbers here have the potential to probably move the stock. And we're already in that range right here. Not so much now with all these puts coming in at the $10, but at the $11 strike and the $12 strike, which are in the money right now, that if we could start moving, we should be able to see some continuation to get us up to at least, I would say, 16. That's kind of my initial price target right now is 16. But it does look like we got some new options added in this morning too, all the way up to 28. And then it looks like they added in a $19 strike that never was existent before. Again, low IV on this play at 130 may invite more options buyers, which could get this thing rolling today. So I like AGC a lot. Like I said, I went into this with more of a swing trade attitude, but it's a very volatile stock. So, I'll be looking to exit if it falls below 12. But this is one that I got my eye on right now, and not even my eye. Got my wallet in as well. All right, so I saw someone say PROG is falling. Let's see here. Yeah. 373. Danny Did It says buy the dip on PROG, won't be here for long. Yeah, I tend to agree. You guys, I know I've been talking about it. I'm long on PROG right now too, and I think this one's got a lot of potential. I skipped over Fluffer. What's up? Good morning, Scotty Z. Michael's reminding me to drink coffee. Thank you, Michael. Big Nate bringing up IRNT. What's going on with that one? That's the one with the crazy cost to borrow. See, that's one that I took off my watch list. Oh, okay. Hold on. That one was on my watch list. This is going back like a month ago, and I took it off. I was just talking earlier how, like, when these plays come up, I keep having to, I only have so much room up there. But IRNT was the one with the insane cost to borrow that just, like, would not go up. And then it looks like the cost to borrow actually decreased now. Let's see here. It never really had the high short interest from what I remember, but this cost to borrow was like 800 or something crazy like that. This is like last month. Utilization's high. Huge spike there though. Looks like 53 million float. Not a lot of volume behind that spike. 308,000. So, yeah. Sometimes you'll see this, like looks like that was 40,000 order that moved that thing up to 1187. So when you get like, in pre-market or after hours, just any sort of volume in it that exceeds what's on the order book, all of a sudden you'll see like a huge spike and it's coming back down. But you got me excited for a second. Let's see. All right, Dan, have fun at work if you can. All right, one thing that I was just gonna pull up, where'd it go? I see someone mentioned Fun too. Fun came up on my scanner this morning too. And that's what I was kind of talking about. Like, I think all these previous runners, whichever ones you've been watching, maybe that you're familiar with, keep them on your watch list and just look for them, because if they start getting volume, they could move. Al says weather here is nice, and I'm taking tomorrow off to golf. Tea time is 9:30, so I should be able to check in with the stream. All right, right on. Well, thank you for joining today, Al. I appreciate it. Dennis says, "What's the news on IRNT mean?" Let me pull it up. So PROG looks like it's bouncing back a little bit. I'm gonna take Redbox off right now too and go CRTX because I think I'm gonna try to find an entry point in here somewhere and try to get on this one. All right, so IRNT reports join the Microsoft Intelligent Security Association. So, an innovative leader transforming cybersecurity through collective defense announced it has joined the Microsoft Intelligent Security Association, a nomination-only association demonstrating IronNet's long-term commitment with Microsoft to deliver better security solutions. Um, so bidirectional integration with Microsoft enables customers. So it kind of, I don't know that it necessarily is any new news in terms of like, oh, they're going to get a contract or that's going to be more money or anything like that. It looks to me like, they're already working with Microsoft on specific projects, and they're kind of being honored by Microsoft because it's like this nomination only. Hey, come join our security association. It's kind of more of an honor than anything, but I guess maybe you know shows that they're building a stronger relations with Microsoft, which could be good for the company long term. But I don't think that there's anything that directly affects the company's bottom line, like any news like that in here. That's the way I'm reading it, at least. All right. What time do we got right now? 6:04. So we still got about 25 minutes before market opens. Just doing a quick look around. Um, Seems like most of the stocks, the ones that I've been naming at least, are kind of flat this morning. The ones on my watch list, DWAC looks like it's up about $3. But the other thing I wanted to show, looks like PROG's actually starting to rip a little bit. Yeah, that's a 10% move right there in the last like what 8 minutes or so. Not bad. Um, yeah, I think this thing wants to get over 4 and start running. Okay, so where were we at? Let me see if I can pull this up. Berkshire Hathaway. I don't know if anyone heard about this last night, but that IRNT move just reminded me of it. So it was like all this buzz on social media last night because all of a sudden Berkshire Hathaway went from trading at what 437,000 up to 661,000. You know, but if you look at the volume that came in on it, it was what, one share, one share, one share. So a total of 3 shares got bought at 661,000 last night in after hours. And immediately now, what, all 3 got sold this morning at 541, and the stock price is back. Sorry guys, I think I got a little bit of a cold too. I don't know if you could hear it in my voice or the sniffling or whatever, but yeah. So, uh, but I thought when I read it, my immediate reaction was like, okay, this is more of a joke, than anything, because with Tesla's recent price movement, Tesla, like Elon Musk, ended up becoming like the richest person ever. Well, Warren Buffett, this is his. He owns a ton of these shares, and so my thought was, okay, someone came in and overpaid what, 200,000, so basically a total of 600 grand, overpaid by 600 grand for those 3 shares to briefly make Warren Buffett the richest man in the world again. Um, who knows? Rich people games, I guess. I can't see why any other reason why anyone would pay 200,000. That's not like a slip of a finger and, oh, I'd hit a market or a market buy instead of a limit buy or something like that. That just seems like just kind of a joke between probably some billionaires or something. But that was crazy. And that's the type of movement you can get in after hours. I mean, if someone sets the ask way up here, someone else is willing to pay it. Even one share moved this company by 50%. It just sat like that overnight and then it came back. Um, let's see. All right. Um, right. So, yeah, this is what I'm probably looking to get into today. AGC I'm watching, PROG I'm watching. I think PROG's going to present some nice day trade activity for anyone who's looking for it as well. But some of the other names for anyone who may be joining late, PHUN's running today. KAVL's another one that looked to be moving this morning. It's coming back down, but again, we're looking for that bullish crossover, looking for a reversal in the momentum. There should be a nice range there. Medex is another one that we pulled up earlier this morning. Not looking bad. A lot of volume pouring into that one too, but for me, I'm going to try to just stick to focusing on these three right now, and along with some of the other ones we've been watching recently. We have Wednesday today. OCGN. Russ says thoughts on OCGN. So OCGN was another one that came up on the scanner today, but I'll pull that one up as well. What's crazy about OCGN from what I remember is a while back is had a little bit of short interest in it too, which I know. My neighbor asked me the other day, like, why do you always pull up Ortex? And it's not necessarily, I don't think that everything's a squeeze play, and I don't base everything off of like, oh, let me see. But, for instance, OCGN, bam, 30% short interest, 96 utilization. Cost to borrow isn't high, but again, I don't see this as being a squeeze play. But if OCGN starts moving, there's a lot of shorts that are then going to have to get out of this play, right? And so it's nice to just see that, to kind of see what the potential could be. Let's see here. Let me go back to the daily chart. So yesterday was pretty wild. It's looking to open up. It's gapping down right now, I think. It's kind of trading flat. It's getting a lot of volume, but it's looking to open right around here. It's just one of those things. Like I don't know that I would get into OCGN as a swing trade. There's a huge risk, and I remember talking to a different friend of mine about that, like way over here, right? When OCGN gapped up this day, and he's like, OCGN, they're gonna get, I forget what it was, like something happening that day, and unfortunately, I feel like with a lot of these drugs, it's, who knows? You might be getting in at a good price, and they get some sort of approval, or something had going on, and all of a sudden this thing starts ripping up, and you made a good trade, or it doesn't happen, and all of a sudden you're bag holding down here, or when it drops back down to a penny stock. I don't know enough about it. Okay, that's my only thing. I mean, there's other pharmaceutical plays that I am in that I've done the research on. So I mean, I guess it's so hard to read charts on these things because they bounce all over the place. Any sort of move or any sort of news could make a move, right? So I do know that with OCGN, looks like the news this morning filed a new drug application to evaluate the COVID-19 vaccine. I remember listening to a Spaces on Twitter 2 weeks ago where this was the hot topic. It was after this move right here. And they were talking about getting WHO approval for, I think they were talking about using it in India or somewhere out there. So, I mean, there's so much surrounding it. And again, I don't want to say it's a bad play. I just don't know enough about it from a swing trade standpoint. Like, to me, with pharmaceuticals and especially like COVID related stuff, throw the charts out the window. You get into this at 9 and all of a sudden it gets that approval. Shit, you might see this thing pop up to 30. in any sort of news, I feel like moves these pharmaceutical plays too, right? So like yesterday, the big news on this one was um what was it? It was something about they expect to receive clarifications from the manufacturer on something, and the price shot up to 13. So there's definitely room. I mean, you could probably get in and hold one of these until the next news release drops, and then sell that rip, and then come back in and buy them. But they just seem like they're all over the place. And I really think that the big players, they know when the next move's coming. So you'll see. I'm sure the boat was loaded here before this news was announced. But nah, I think it's gonna have some nice range. I mean, we even saw a nice pop this morning from 9 up to 10. And this is one that I'll be watching in terms of like being able to just jump in and jump out of. But yeah, I don't know enough about it. Um let's see. PROG just popped up to 390. Russ says definitely more of a gamble. Yeah. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I hate to say that. And then it's like, oh, well, because I have another friend who's like, oh, if I would have listened to you, I would have lost money. Like, no, I'm not saying don't buy it or nothing. Those are just my thoughts on it. Like, and I have my money in some pretty, risky plays too. Like I think any sort of pharmaceutical play is risky. Um, so definitely, I'm not saying, what the hell? Sorry, 1 second. All right. I think fun. I think fun is more of a day trade opportunity. One that there's going to be a wide range in there. Um, I don't know that it's going to like bounce back up here to this 24, at least not in the short term. But I think you could definitely make some money playing the volatility on this one. Kind of the same thing with DWAC. I don't know that it's going to be at 175 now, but we might see it make some nice pops in between. That being said, I think all these stocks, like with that started running on that Trump news, if all of a sudden we get some big announcement, um, you know what? It's almost like what I was just saying about with the COVID stuff. Like a lot of these pharmaceutical companies and COVID, like OCGN. You get some announcement, and the announcement might not even be enough that should push the stock, but it'll bring volume into it and things will take off. I think DWAC might see a couple days like that. It's just that's going to be like the Trump stock. If all of a sudden he comes out and starts talking and talking about his big plans for Trump Media Group or anything, we or maybe they even release some of their plans or whatever. I think this is going to be a stock that has meme status for a while, where you know uh, we'll see some other crazy runs like that. And then with Trump, I can't wait to see. You think about like Elon Musk, how he's been fined before for talking about Tesla and kind of making the stock move. I'm sure we're going to see a ton of that with with Trump once that thing gets rolling. So that should be a fun stock for a while. Um, Redbox. Redbox is moving again today. And you know what? I'm glad you brought that up because that's the one we haven't talked about yet. So Redbox, let me get this up. Back this out a little bit. So yesterday, this thing went up huge, 27, ended up hitting 28, topped out at 27 again once the market opened. Not a lot going on, but then it had this nice spike later on in the day around 11. And I think we'll probably see it. I think it's going to continue this momentum today and maybe start bouncing back a little bit. This is a warrant play, or not a warrant play, but a SPAC play. And I brought this up yesterday on the stream that a lot of times with these SPACs, I just started realizing with DWAC when that one started moving that the warrants actually moved more than the stock. And so yesterday I was paying more attention to on the warrant side, which is RDBXW. I mean, it pretty much followed the same thing. A little less volume in it throughout the day. They did have some pretty different spikes in there. One right here. I mean, there's no way you would have been. I'm looking at a 5-minute. Let's go back to the one. There we go. So there was a nice little pop here. Another one here. But either way, I don't think Redbox is done. I think it's still going to get some volume today. It's got 1.4 million right now. This float is relatively small. 12 million. So we're already seeing 10% of the float being traded. Yesterday was a little crazy. Total volume on the day was 18 million. So yeah, I think Redbox still has some room to run. I'm not like a buyer, like, oh, I'm going to buy and hold this. I don't know enough about the company or anything like that. And, we've seen this work both ways where after this pop, this thing gets slammed down. But I'll be watching this one too for potential to kind of jump in and make some money off the volatility. More of a day trade candidate is the way I see it. The two that I really like, and I know I've said this a couple times, for like squeeze candidates that I feel at least the most comfortable with buying and holding right now is PROG and AGC. I'm down a little bit on AGC right now. And that's the problem with kind of that buy and hold mentality too, right? Like I've been day trading the shit out of a lot of these stocks. And yesterday I bought AGC right here. And shortly after I bought, this thing came up and touched where I was already up 10%. The way I've been playing a lot of these is I should have sold that, and I would have had the opportunity to re-enter my position right here. But I feel like AGC has a bigger move in it. I could be wrong. And I said that I would cut it if it falls below 12. So I'm willing. I know what my risk is, and I feel like it's got a lot more room to the upside. So whatever. Michael says the big hype on OCGM was them gaining the rights as third-party distribution of an oral COVID max in pill form from India, which would gain OCGM 50% of the profits in North America. Okay. I like Michael dropping the knowledge. Yeah, fun was if you're talking about on Friday, so did I. That was my one losing trade on Friday. Those halts were crazy, and then that last halt that was like 30 minutes long or however long it was, it's just like, whenever you're in a halt, whether you want to buy or sell, you almost have to you almost have to like be sitting there waiting for it to come out of that halt so you could make that split decision, right? Because I never like to like put in. Sometimes I'll put a limit order in a halt and just, hey, like a little bit below, and that way if I get filled, like if I'm trying to get out, at least fill me for this. But sometimes I like to just see where it's at, because you might gap up off a halt or gap down, and who knows. But yeah, I wasn't even near the computer when it came out of that halt, and that was my biggest loss of the week. Still had an amazing week last week, but but yeah. Yeah, Russ, I'm looking at what you're saying right now about fun. I don't even know. I was just trying to jump on and trade because it looked like it was starting to move when seemed like almost any stock that had anything to do with Trump was moving. I was just trying to jump on and take it for a ride, but looks like Fun got some news this morning. Integrates with Epic, Mass Digital Front Door now available on Epic app, Orchard Marketplace. Funware reports integration with Epic. Okay. Thomas O'Connell, what's up? Good morning. Big C. Oh, safe. You keep saying that Safe Moon INU. I don't know. So that's a different one. Bogdan says, do you think BKKT will bounce back? I don't know. Not anytime soon. I talked about this morning or yesterday morning. Um, with the extension of the option chain and IV being so high, right now we just checked earlier. Max Payne's around 14, and the stock's at 20. My assumption, what I think is going to happen is it's going to get pushed down that last $6 and trade sideways at 14 until IV decreases. Then you'll see it run. I still think that it's going to have, the short interest is there. It's going to, kind of coil back up and get beaten down for a while now. And, cost to borrow right now is at 390. Utilization's at 99. Like, it's definitely got the setup to squeeze again. It can. But if I had to like bet on it, now I'm not shorting this or anything like that, but it's definitely got some options that came in, but I just, there's a $5 gap in between each of these options now, right? So it's going to take a lot more. 17,000's good, but it's going to take a lot more than 5,000 to like move this 30 to 35 or move this 45 to 50, 50 to 55, etc. So I think it might be done for the short term. IV needs to kind of cool off, and then you'll start to see, it'll have its day again. I think long term, BKKT could be a great play when you compare like, the market cap of like, let's say them to Coinbase and that's from a fundamental standpoint. But I think if you wanted to enter this play from a fundamental standpoint, you'll have your day. You'll have your opportunity. This is probably going to get driven a little bit lower, and probably, I think, settle down around 14. I could be completely wrong, though. Kenneth Wallace, what's up? What's going on? Fluffer says longest halt in history. Was it really? Or are you just like joking? It seemed like it. That was hell long. Shit, by the time it happened, I was driving. Like I was sitting here for so long waiting and waiting and waiting, and it was like, man, I gotta go. And so I got in my car and started driving, and then it was like, I think Ghost or someone was texting me and like, damn, fun just fell down to this, man, fun just, and I'm just like, oh shit, you know. And it was just going down and down, and I'm like, and I just sat at the computer for a half hour waiting for it. Faith, what's up? Good morning. Cuckoo bird. My wife asked, "Who is that?" I said, "It's Coach B." She said, "He sounds so cuddly." That's funny. Um, let's see here. Yeah, I'm just tired. Early mornings always sound different later on in the day when I come, like when I'm at school or at practice, or even when I make videos late in the afternoon, or do like the show with Ghost, and and on Monday nights, it's like I could tell I'm just like way more awake. GNUS halted. Someone else said that earlier, and we pulled it up. Is this shit? It is halted. We pulled it up earlier, and I looked at it, and I'm like, why is like, nah, it's moving. It's been halted this whole time. Oh, halted ahead of positive news. News pending. Damn. Ah, man. One of the group texts I'm on. Someone was talking about this stock the other day, and I never grabbed any. But let's see here. Yeah, if you got a bid on it, I mean, who knows? Just looking at this, if you were trying to buy, had the big jump yesterday. That's risky. Like I definitely wouldn't do a market order. Oh shit, I missed the open. Dan warned me about that yesterday too. Looks like CLOV is moving a little bit. That's funny. Earlier, Discord was making noise, and someone was like, "Hey, I could hear your Discord," and so I turned it off. And Dan said, he's like, man, you're gonna miss the opening bell if you keep your computer muted. And he was right. All right, so I got PROG up. I got AGC up. CLOV is down here in the bottom corner. And what else? Let's see, fun. KAVL. KVL looks like maybe it's heading back down. Medex. And the one that I really like today is probably CRTX. I think at some point, if I could find a nice reversal entry and maybe see this thing, shit, even right now it popped up to 20. Um, that's a nice move, you know. Not gonna jump into anything too soon, but maybe let this thing settle down and try to catch it on the way back up. Um, you know, and just even a nice 10% play or something in there. Matter of fact, I'm gonna look up options on this and try to see if I could swing trade some options. Oh yeah, that may be the play this morning. Okay. Oh, Thomas said bought some GNUS options yesterday. Good for you, Thomas. I hope that works out for you when that thing comes out. Your pal Al says SoFi on the move. Looks like CLOV's getting a nice little I mean, we're up 3 cents, 4 cents, but at least it's not getting hammered into the ground right now. Let's see a nice little morning run. I'd love to see that this morning. Russ says I haven't heard about GNUS. So GNUS yesterday moved a lot. It was what was the news behind? Scheduled investor conference call to discuss positive business development. And then the stock started moving yesterday. Heavy volume. And now it's halted. And the news just dropped. Genius Brands International buying Frederator Studios parent Wow Unlimited Media for $53 million. So is that moving right now? Or is it still in a halt? Still halted. All right. And why is CLOV not acting like typical CLOV? No news behind it, but it's looking pretty strong here this morning. And where was the other one? I just want to see what happens with GNUS. I don't have any part of this, but I'd love to see this thing just skyrocket. Does news always halt the stock? No. So typically in pre-market, there's no you won't even ever see halts. But sometimes if there's like big news, I don't know who makes that call, but if there's I've seen it happen like even in midday where all of a sudden they'll just halt trading on a specific stock and wait for the news to drop to give everybody an opportunity to kind of absorb it and then and then reload trading. But yeah, I mean it's not very typical, but it happens. Usually when there's like bigger news, whether it be good or bad. And then sometimes you just see the news drop, and then you'll see the stock kind of go crazy. So, Braden says not typical for CLOV would be refreshing. No shit. Let's see it. Oh, that's weird. All right. So, Jack B says if you buy 100 shares of PROG, you could sell covered calls for a decent premium. Yeah, the only thing that, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to talk you out of it, but like with the option chain only going up to 550 right now, I think this stock's gonna be above 550 by November 19th. So, that's the only thing that kind of would scare me in that, because when you look at, because I was thinking about that with some of the shares that I have, just because of how high IV is right now. But if you look at the risk reward, right now never mind. They added in some 750 strikes this morning. I didn't see that earlier when we were talking. So we actually have a 750 strike now. Yeah, that changes things too. But yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, that's a huge gain. If you sell this right now, that means you're getting out of your prog at 625, right? You're gonna get, if you were to get assigned on that. So not bad at all. And IV is through the roof, so you definitely got a point there. I hate when they do this shit and put a $2 gap. I would have loved to have seen a 6 and a 7 instead. Because now that means that even if this thing does take off, once it gets to 550, there's going to need to be a lot there to give it that push to get to 7. But I'm sure if this momentum keeps going up, tomorrow we'll see even more strikes get added. Oh, I just lost my AGC position. My stop loss went off. All right, that didn't last long. All right, so I am gonna sign off now. Go check on the kids and get everything else going. They're about 6:40 right now. Got to get the day started. So thank you guys for joining. I appreciate everybody for spending the pre-market with me. Be back again tomorrow morning, and then again on Friday to close the week out. Thank you again. Hope everybody has a great day. Good luck in the markets. And Mel, I just saw that with the AGC. So my stop loss actually triggered. And now I'm kind of thinking like, shit, did I want to get out? Because if that ends up being the bottom, I still like this play. I may end up buying back in. I should have set my stop loss a little bit lower. Ah, man, I hate when that happens. All right, I'll see you guys later.